Hi everyone, welcome to Clutch Entertainment today, and today we're going to be talking about why buying a house today still beats, you know, renting or an apartment. So in today's society, we have a lot of issues with buying a house, being a first-time home buyer, doing all kinds of different stuff along those lines. When getting out of college, you have to move back in with your parents. You have to move back in with maybe a relative. It's just something that we all have to go through a lot of times because we don't have the money because college makes us broke these days, and it brings us into like a student loan debt and what we have to pay back and all kinds of different bills and different things, insurances. So a big thing here is being able to afford a new house and starting out. So the thing is, starting out with an apartment isn't always the worst thing, or living with your parents. It's not the worst thing. But overall, in the end goal, you want to be able to have your own house, have your own freedom, have your own way of doing things, and to be able to express that with others. You want to be able to share those things and have your own space. That way, you can have some privacy. That way, you can take care of things easier. You can have more freedom, stability, and you can have more long term wealth. So, me personally, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I started out as like I got out of college. I had student loan debt, so I lived with my parents maybe about 2 years after I got out of college, and then I ended up moving in with my aunt, and then I ended up purchasing my first house. I never had to go into the apartment avenue, but I was able to help my wife get her apartment when she moved here with in St. Louis from another state, but that's for another story. But so I was able to get that experience with an apartment, and I was able to get that experience with what leasing takes, what all that stuff takes. So I'm going to go into a little bit of breakdown of what's the difference between like having an apartment, why buying a home is the best route to go, and some of the downsides even, and why a lot of the reasons we're limited to mostly apartments these days compared to homes. But in the long term goal, my overall aspect of this video is to try to convince you is having a house is just way better than having an apartment or having to rent. It's just way better than doing that. So first off, we're going to talk about the apartment lifestyle. So some of the positives of apartments are there's less responsibility, less maintenance. It's usually cheaper upfront, usually for mortgage a lot of times compared to a mortgage on a house, and you're mostly just paying for maybe like a few bills, like maybe electricity or gas or something along those lines, just something simple. A lot of times your trash is taken care of. A lot of times your water's taken care of. A lot of times your sewer's taken care of. A lot of those back end things are taken care of compared to a home. And in a home, you have to pay for all those things. But in an apartment, you're investing that rent or that extra money to rent an apartment to all those utilities, and that can be, you know, an issue because you're not really getting that money back, or you're not able to afford something in the future because you're just basically throwing money to somebody who's renting this place out to you, and that's kind of really hard in this situation because you're trying to get this aspect where you're building money up when you're working a job, and you're able to save money so you're able to expand to like a bigger home, a bigger place to live. So we really want to be in this mode where we're trying to save, trying to make ourselves more available to save more money and to expand where we go and have more freedom. Some of the problems with an apartment are, you have that limited freedom. You don't have as much space to go around for yourself. There's all kinds of people in a community around you. You may have noise on floors above you, floors below you. Rent is basically like subscribing to a place to where you want to live. It's basically like paying your Netflix subscription every month just so you can live there, kind of thing. So we want to get into a mortgage where a mortgage is more of I'm investing in something and something I'm eventually going to own, which that's what we want. You build over time. If you own a home, you build equity, which is basically like your overall aspect of how much profit you're making in a home, and you build good credit. That's another thing. So like your credit score goes up from making monthly payments, and you can make customizations to your home. You can build a garden. You can build a shed. You can make modifications to your home. You can build your own man cave. You can have your own nice backyard. You can build fences. You can do whatever. You can mess with the walls in your house if you want to change the wall color. Whereas an apartment, you're very limited, like I said. So let's go into like why overall owning a home is better. Some of those things I just gave are some reasons why. Having this freedom and and stability, and how I was talking about how you make your payments and all that such, it really gives you an easy chance to take care of things the way you want them to be. And a lot of times we want to have that freedom. Even for people with issues with anxiety, or people's with issues that like they're stressed being alone. Being alone in a home allows you to express your emotions a lot easier too. If I was a woman too, and I was just really sad, and I tear up a lot, or say I'm somebody who's stressed, like having social anxiety, and I need all kinds of different help, with being in social situations. A home is a place where you can express those things, and you don't have to worry about someone hearing you, or someone saying something to you, or someone seeing your emotions. You can just express those and take care of things the way you want them to be taken care of. And also overall with a home too, like I was saying, is overall you build that equity over time. And as you build that equity, you're able to like make the value of your home go up. For example, if you can see in the background of my house, like right over here, that's my windows there. But if you go a little farther over here, it's kind of cutting me off. But that screen over there on the far left, I had put that in my house. This is my house here, and basically, I feel like I added some value. I had put that brick path in too, and also I customized some of the things on the outside of the house you can't see. Some of the things with, like, I put a solar panel on it, just so I can get like solar lights. I also put some solar lights above this, and not pictured in this picture, above those windows. So a lot of these things I can overall customize and make things easier for myself. And I'm able to improve upon what I want in a home, what I want my home to be. So let's go into the next segment here, where we're going to talk about some of the downsides of owning a home. So a lot of times we have to cut the grass. We have to make sure everything's trimmed up. We have to make sure that, our roof is good, so we don't have leaks. We don't have AC heating problems, like a furnace problem. We don't have cracks inside the side. There's like a whole bunch of things we have to watch out for, compared to like having an apartment where you don't have to worry about those things. But overall, I would say the freedom of having the home, being able to not to worry about, or to worry about those things more so, like maintaining your home, actually gives you more of a purpose inside of you. And I feel like, even if we're having someone else fix it, or someone else try to, help us do it per se, it overall makes it a lot more worthwhile in the end to have a home. You may have these downsides where you're having a lot of high interest rates and paying maintenance and all these things, but it overall puts you in a position where you can learn to be responsible. You can learn to overcome fears of all kinds of different things. For example, I had fears when I first moved into my house of going on the roof, being able to fix certain things, like work on my sink and change a faucet, or having a leak with something. I have learned that I was able to self-teach a lot of my stuff to myself because I didn't have anybody around. Whereas if you're living with someone or living in an apartment, you have that aspect of, oh, I can rely on someone else. I can have someone else do this. And that's not the way I feel like a lot of people should approach it. But in the end, I really think that having a house, having a mortgage teaches you that responsibility. It teaches you how to maintain things. It builds your character. And a lot of people will respect you a lot for owning a home just because people know that responsibility of owning a home and getting a home in the first place. And for me personally, I was blessed to get my home before COVID when the interest rates went up. So my mortgage is actually a lot lower than a lot of interest today, like interest rates today. I think my interest rate's somewhere around like 4 point something, 4.8 or something, which is a lot better than like 6% what it is right now or whatever it is. But I have a lot lower cost for my house because I invest in the right time. And houses, the housing market is all about when you put your money into the housing market, when you want to purchase a home. So getting into this next segment, this is kind of like why we feel like we're locked out of owning a home these days. And the big thing is the high housing costs, like I was just talking about. You know, we want to be able to own a home, but we want to be reasonable with it. If I see you as a person that is single, by yourself, and you just work a job, you know, find a way to buy a house that's not too expensive. Start out small. Even if you get a house that's, you know, 1 or 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom and you just live alone, I mean, that's plenty of space for you. I mean, for my house, like I said, for one person to start out, you know, 670 square feet is how big my house is, and I have a little bit of a basement, but it's really simple. It's not much like complete space. It's probably as big as an apartment space, to be honest. And it's really easy to, you know, maintain. It's easy to take care of. And when you have a bigger house, you have to maintain more. But when you have a smaller house, you could save money, cut cost, have a lower mortgage, and you don't have to worry about these really high mortgages you're going to pay because you're going to pay a lot less for the home overall. And it can save you a lot of money in the long run. It can build your house value up because you can add modifications, and then you could sell your house in the future. So I feel like you may feel locked out, but you should compare your mortgage payment to like how much you pay for rent. Here in Missouri, you could pay, you know, maybe you pay $600 or $700 or maybe even $800 for a mortgage that you're paying on a $150,000 house. That would probably be typical if you're paying a good down payment, maybe $100,000 to or so on down payment on a house. And if you have between that amount, you're able to have a low mortgage. You're able to afford your house and build up over time for that house. And that's really important. You should be able to do that each and every day to build yourself up to that house. And that's how you can maintain. You can really take your time with it. You can pursue it. You don't have to overspend, and you can really, you know, create some stability with yourself. So overall, owning a home is way better than renting or an apartment. It's good to stay home with your parents after college. I'm not discouraging that, but if you really want a good freedom, a good way to save money, a good way to build your own money up per se, even with equity in your home, buying a new home, it's really important, and we want to be able to, in the end, have our own home, have a future, have a way that we can share experiences with others and have good times in a place where we can be private and make things the way we want them to be, compared to having an apartment and being limited in that space that we have. So I encourage everyone, you know, to eventually put yourself out there, work hard, and go for a home. Even there's first-time home buyer credits too out there that give you a lower interest rate or lower lower costs, with the close on a home when you're first buying a home. So look into those government programs, and overall, I'd say that owning a home is something that everyone should dream of. So thank you for watching Clutch Entertainment today. Hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully that in the end you can probably own a home like I do. So thank you for watching Clutch Entertainment today. Hopefully you can like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell, and make sure you have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.